All right, everybody, Jason Andrews, aka the All-American Driver, and today I want to talk about what is happening with the S2000. A lot going on. Actually, today I finally have got closure from what all happened with the insurance, what they're doing with the S2000, what I'm doing with the S2000. Spoiler alert, the car is leaving today. So I have got to get this thing packed up. I've got to get all my parts for it packed up because in an hour or so, this car is going to be gone forever. I am definitely going to miss this thing. I have learned a lot about driving, a lot about what I appreciate from a driver's car. There is so much I have learned driving this car, tracking this car. This car has honestly been the funnest car I've ever driven on track. And it is a little hard to let go. But before I tell you all the reasons, everything that went down, I got to get this thing packed up and out of here because I got people right outside this garage door that are waiting to pick it up. Now, before I begin, I want to say thank you to everybody who commented on the video where I got rear-ended. And I talked about basically what happened. Since then, I've been pretty silent about the situation because I have been going with some back and forth through insurance. But now the checks are in the mail and I feel like I'm good to talk about it. So just to recap a little, I was rear-ended. I was at a stoplight and somebody just slammed into the back of me. Police report says about 40 miles an hour. I mean, it hit me pretty hard and it did crumple up both sides of the crumple zone, you know, in the rear portion of the frame. But basically everything in front of like the rear axles was fine. The subframe, that black sub piece under there, the subframe was fine. And obviously there was some cosmetic damage, right? The trunk wouldn't close, both the quarter panels, all the taillights, the rear bumper cover, the rear bumper, all that stuff, totally garbage. So I had an insurance adjuster come out and he looked at the car. He probably spent an hour, wrote down some things, took a lot of pictures and everything. And he came back with an initial estimate to repair the car for just about $11,000. So this number is interesting to me because I thought that maybe if the value was high enough, they were going to potentially just total loss the car. But he said that they are using NADA values to calculate basically a car's worth. And if it meets a certain percentage of that number, they'll recommend it for total loss. However, $11,000 wasn't enough. And sure enough, you look on NADA values with my miles in like average condition. I mean, you're in the mid-20s is what they're valuing the car at. So right off the bat, I got a diminished value lawyer basically on standby. And he's like, look, whatever number they tell you, basically plan on me getting you 7,000 or 8,000 more than that. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, basically 11,000 for the repair. I can file a diminished value claim. We're close to 20 on the car. And that's just talking about the car. Now, mind you, I went straight to the emergency room right after I got hit. I had some cuts and some bruises, like my elbow was cut, my right knee was bruised, but the biggest thing was I got hit really bad in the back of the head from the seat. And sure enough, they diagnosed me. I had a concussion. They gave me light duty, limited duty at work. So I've been just kind of slowly, gradually getting back to normal, but I'm feeling pretty good now. Back to the property damage, okay? So their insurance adjuster calls me and gave me some pretty bad news. The state minimum requirements in Florida for insurance are $10,000 for property damage, aka like your car, and $10,000 for basically personal injury protection, PIP, for pain and suffering, for medical bills, things like that. 10,000, 10,000. So already I'm thinking, okay, well, you're telling me that I've got $11,000 worth of damage. Whether or not that's accurate or whether or not I think I could do it cheaper, that's not the point. You're telling me I got $11,000 and you're telling me you're only going to give me $10,000. Now, mind you, I still owed money on this car, right? So potentially I was going to be dumping all this money into the S2000 to still owe money on a car that didn't really make sense. Now, I didn't make any decisions right off the bat, right? I was like, look, I need to wait. I need to go back to see my doctor. I need to, ask some questions. A lot of you guys gave me some nice advice, both in the comments of the last video and on Instagram. So many of you guys reached out and were like, hey, I was in a similar situation. This is kind of what happened in my case. And so it gave me a lot of insight that I'm very thankful for. So fast forward about a week from the accident, I was at a place looking at a thing, okay? And somebody there either knew me or knew I had an S2000 and I had just been in a rear end accident. So immediately they came up and they're like, hey, are you interested in selling this car? And I had been going back in my mind about what to do with the car. Honestly, the problem is, like, I really like the S2000. I liked tracking it more than I liked tracking the GT350R. Sorry, that's just the truth. That's just for me. I really realized what I value in kind of a track car. Short wheelbase, lightweight, no extra space, no extra body, no, just a pretty focused little track car, you know? I don't need all the bells and whistles in my track car. More on that in another video. But he started telling me about his love for the S2000. He is a twin, okay? And his twin brother has an identical color, identical year S2000. He's got it boosted, and you know, the other twin, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get an S2000 and blah, 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 whatever. Him and his wife used to work at the Honda dealership where the S2000 was rotating in the showroom. Just everything he was saying about the car made sense, and I feel really good about when basically he made an offer on the car. So obviously this offer was as is, okay? As the car sits. I wasn't fixing anything. You could still drive the car, you know, everything, but it was as is. So basically I sold the car to him as is for $10,000. Now that's actually a really good deal in my opinion, but you have to remember that insurance is also paying me another $10,000. So if you would have asked me 2 months ago, hey Jay, would you sell your car for $20,000? I would have said yes. I'd be coming out ahead, taking a lot of lessons learned from the car as a driver, as what I'm looking for in an S2000 and also a track car. I would have sold the car for 20. So I am actually really happy about that. And I'm happy that he's local. He's gonna be building the car. It's gonna be on the channel soon. Trust me, in a couple months, he's gonna be at the track with probably a fresh new paint job, you know, he's already ordered parts for the car. So it's gonna be really cool. Now there are a few things that would have kept me from selling the S2000. One, if it would have been white, I would not have sold a white one. Ever since I bought the car, I wished it was white. I was gonna wrap it, but then what about the jams and the engine bay? Do I pull the engine? Do I paint the whole thing? I really wanted a white one. I should have waited. That's my mistake. I should have waited. If this car would have been white, I would have kept it. I love the AP1. I love the platform. I love everything about it. But in the future, you know, I wanted it to be white. I wanted it to be even lighter, right? I was planning on making it lighter. I was probably gonna end up K-swapping and boosting the car. I really wanted to put a BMW DCT in the car. These are all long-term things, but these are things I was thinking about. And I could have taken that money from insurance and like dumped it in there, but then I'm still paying on the car. It's still like a track-only car. I'm probably not that confident driving it on the street just because in case I got rear-ended again, and I'm not saying I was gonna half-ass it with the repair, but maybe I just would have made it like get by, you know? And the fact that I still owed money on the car, I was like, I don't wanna pay for a car I'm gonna drive like 4 times a year the days I get to the track. Maybe more, maybe 10 times a year. It just didn't make sense. So I sold it, it's gone.
Enjoy it, man.
Will do.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot to take in. It showed up, I had it for about a year. We did so much stuff with it. I learned so much as a driver. I met some great people. All the guys at Bakerbilt, awesome. Friends probably for life. I can call them whenever. Jason, basically the crew chief on that car. That's like one of the worst parts about selling the car. I don't think he's like not gonna answer my calls now that I don't have an S2000. So then on the other side of the house, remember I talked about the insurance. They have the $10,000 property limit and they have the $10,000 basically personal injury protection limit, right? So I went to the hospital, like I said, I had a concussion, you know, all that stuff we talked about. I uploaded all that stuff to the State Farm website. And basically they came back and they just said, hey, we're gonna give you the policy limits on both counts. So 10,000 from the property, $10,000 from personal injury protection. So basically I got $20,000 coming to me. I sold the car for 10, so I'm pretty far ahead with this situation. And trust me, the stuff that's coming to replace everything, it's definitely gonna be an upgrade. So that's it. Basically, huge changes. I mean, the garage is pretty much empty right now. I have multiple cars to reveal to you guys, but it just takes time. I have other things coming. I have parts for other things that are on the way. All this, I'm feeling pretty good. We're almost caught up on videos. We're almost current. I've been a little bit out of timeline order, but I'm trying my best to keep up. You guys know YouTube is hard. YouTube is definitely hard. Everything I do, I gotta have a camera there, so I can, refer back to it and show you guys instead of just telling you about it, because that's important. I wanna thank everybody so much from the S2000 community that subscribed to the channel, and I hope you guys don't just bounce yet. I have another car you guys are probably gonna like, and I think it's possible I might get an S2000 in the future, obviously a white one, so we'll just have to see what happens with that. But I got stuff coming. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be cool. You just gotta trust me on that. Jason Andrews, aka the All-American Driver, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.